Palestinians held in Israeli prisons without charge, without trial, without access to lawyers, without access to the evidence against them. And now we're witnessing, in this state's desperation, the return of that tactic to the British judicial system. 18 non-violent activists held, still without trial. It is a vicious circle that also manifests itself in our weapons, the components that are built in this country, the drones that are built in this country and shipped to Israel. We then buy them back and use those drones to bomb and kill the people of Afghanistan, Iraq, and Yemen, to survey small boats crossing the English Channel, filled with some of the world's most desperate people coming here to claim asylum. But this cycle of repression has also taught us that the state truly fears the power of solidarity and direct action. It has taught us that the war machine that seemed impenetrable is in fact vulnerable. And above all, it's taught us the true potential of the families that we can build around collective action and collective resistance. In the first prison during this genocide in Gaza, November 2023, Israel's fascist national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, famously said that he would allow no expressions of joy amongst the Palestinian prisoners being released. During this current prisoner exchange, the Israeli state said precisely the same thing, that Palestinians would not be allowed to express joy. In fact, they raided the houses of 4 families who were doing just that when their relatives were returning home. So it is important that we understand that while direct action says you cannot break our bodies, the expression of joy says you cannot break our souls. So I'll finish with one of these political prisoners, Francesca Nadine, held in remand since June of 2024. She wrote these words just 2 days ago from her prison cell. To everybody that came to visit me on Saturday, with my ear pressed between the bars, I listened to you and I cried with emotion. Nothing like that has ever before, and I doubt it will ever happen again. Now, everywhere I go, I hear my name being shouted by other prisoners. Free Francesca. You didn't just bring joy to me, but to all of us. And the next day, I woke up, and the world was and is a different place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's difficult to say anything after that. So we've heard all of these different stories about the oppression and the silencing, and we've seen how we come together. We're here for the Palestinians, the people in Congo, the Sudanese. We're here for the people in the UK, the people of colour, the people who are in prison. And we've got one more speaker before we ask you to either join in court and hear what our Crown prosecution has to say against the defendants today. And then we've got a little bit of a break, and we'll have our big action then start at 12. We'll exhibit the political prisoners throughout history, and you can come and watch or take part in that exhibition. And there'll be all of the prisoners who are currently in prison in the UK from Palestine Action. They'll be there, so you can find their faces, as well as many of the Just Stop Oil and Insure Britain prisoners, as well as people elsewhere around the world. So they'll be all in that exhibition. So Sam from the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. Thank you, Sam.
Free trade! Free trade! Okay, I thank Speaker for laying out
this morning
what's
at
really
the
going.
Royal Courts of Justice just to stand in support and solidarity with these 16 prisoners who are serving sentences, some of them 4 or 5 years, for climate change protest. This is a new law which is now banging people away in prisons for longer sentences than those who've committed violent crimes, because apparently we're not allowed to protest any longer in this country. So
that is going on in Palestine or going on anywhere else in this world. There's nothing you can do.
It's not a country I think
There's
I
no
want to live
trauma.
in.
There's no
So what
nothing.
can we do? We can only be, here and stand in support of those who risked everything to try and tell the world about those dangers. We're living in a country where thousands of people lost their homes and their livelihoods in the floods. We've seen the LA fires, thousands of people lost their homes there. We've seen many people dying in Spain in the floods in Valencia. The science is there. We see it on our screens on a daily basis. And the 16 were simply trying to communicate the depth of their fear and their passion about these things. Why are we locking them up? So let's hope today the appeal will win and they will be released. And let's all work together to end these terrifying laws which are unjust and which threaten to undermine our very, very precious democracy and our right to protest.
My name is Carla Denia.
And I want to also say this. The police came to my door about 10 days ago at 2 o'clock in the morning and were banging away because they were looking for me and trying to arrest me.
Okay.
And there is a really important way that Zionism
I can't really hear
has
you. Let's go see the
corrupted
film.
every level of British society from Keir Starmer down. When did we ever hear of the police doing that? It's what we expect from the Gestapo and from Netanyahu. And what were they after me for? Because I was encouraging people to protest. And that's what this trial is about. It's about we have the right to protest. And when they shut the march down the Saturday before last, they were putting it out for everybody, for the climate protesters, for everybody. They shut down protests in support of Palestine, but they were telling all of us, whatever it is you want to do, we will be in control. We are ready to shut all protests down, and we are not going to stand for it. And we stand with all the political and prisoners of conscience who are now in jail. And I gather there are some 41 people who are prisoners of conscience at the moment in the UK. And I wear another hat. I wear a hat as Payday, who has worked with prisoners. And I have to say this. I've worked with a man who's been basically in solitary confinement for the last 15 years. In the UK, a young Muslim man. And he's in solitary confinement because he defended himself against a racist attack by prison guards, was found innocent unanimously because of self-defense. Yet they have put him in solitary, and nobody in this country believes that solitary exists. That's one of those weird things that they do in the United States. Well, it ain't true. And I further want to say this about prisoners. The conditions under which the prisoners of conscience have to live is because we allow prisoners in this country to be put in solitary or to be put in conditions which are unacceptable to human beings. And I want to say furthermore that most prisoners in prison are there because of poverty, especially women are particularly in prison. The vast majority of women are in there for crimes of shoplifting, etc. They are crimes of poverty. And poverty is a conscious decision made in Whitehall, in Downing Street, in the city, in Washington, D.C., in the White House, in Congress, and and in Wall Street. It's a political decision. And so the number of political prisoners in this country and in the United States is much bigger than we usually give credit. And we have to change the whole system. It all has to come down. And we in IJAN, we run a picket every Friday in Swiss Cottage, demanding the expulsion of the Israeli ambassador who said that 600,000 deaths in Gaza is acceptable. Woo! And we know a genocide because we're Jewish. We know a genocide when we hear one. And I want to say last, just to tell a true story. On the first day of the pickets, not of the pickets, of the protests in October, when we were down at the Israeli embassy, which you can't even get near now. It's probably the only embassy in this country that you can't get near. It's so protected. The Zionists get special treatment all the time. And by the way, on our picket, they have been arresting people on a regular basis. The police stand there and take direction directly from the Zionists. You can hear them giving direction, arrest him, arrest him, arrest him. And it's not just me, it's a lot of other people. But on that first protest, a woman came up to me when I was holding the banner, the IJAN banner. And she said, "How can you be against your people?" And I said, "Would you, okay. Those are not my people. My people are the Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians." Woo!
Morning, everyone. Lovely to see you. Just a couple of announcements. So day 2 of the appeal is starting now. So if anyone wants to go into court, now's the chance to move in. For people staying outside, we've still got thousands of these lovely leaflets to talk to members of the public about all the fucked up shit that's going on in our legal system. So yeah, come and find me and I'll give you some flyers if you want to do that.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
We've also got, just down there in Essex Hall, if anyone doesn't know, there's a lovely little spot for toilets, get a coffee, sit for a bit. At midday, thereabouts, we're expecting it to be really busy, maybe. So like around that time, we're gonna have to kind of like filter people in going through the door. So just be mindful of that. It could get really, really busy. Everything? Oh, and if you're going into court, please, can you wear a face mask? And do we have some? And we have some. Thank you all.
My name is Carla Denyer. I'm co-leader of the Green Party of England and Wales and MP for Bristol Central. One of my constituents, Gay Delap, is one of the 16 political prisoners whose case is being considered in the Court of Appeal this week. And so I'm here with many of her supporters, family and friends of both gays and the other prisoners, to say that this is a pivotal court case. This is a pivotal decision. In this country, government and parliament and our courts are separate, very separate for a reason. And yet the chilling influence of the advice of a so-called independent political advisor that has, let's be honest, it must have had an impact on judges, on juries and on the public, dismissing or condemning even peaceful climate protesters as extremists. This is a dangerous and chilling intervention, and amongst many other measures that I'm calling on the government to take, it is for this so-called independent advisor to be removed from his position.
So I'm outside the Royal Courts of Justice to show my solidarity with the so-called Lord Wolney 16. I am here to stand up for the right to peaceful protest. It is outrageous that these brave people have been banged up in prison for longer even than people who were taking violent rioting action during the Southport riots. It's outrageous that they're being locked up in prison when big oil, who are driving us towards climate breakdown, is walking free. And it's outrageous that at a time when actually they're literally letting out of prison people who have had violent backgrounds, they're letting those people out in order to put peaceful protesters in. What happens in these courts today and tomorrow will absolutely define what kind of country we have become. And frankly, I think it is deeply concerning that not only the previous Tory government, from whom one might expect such authoritarian action, but a new Labour government is not actually intervening to say that different guidelines should be in front of the judges when they look at cases like this.
We are losing democracy. The fact that these 16 people have been locked up in prison for peaceful protest is actually appalling in a democracy. It's just inconceivable that that sort of action could be considered the same or worse than violent criminal actions. And I've got to make an apology because in the House of Lords we do have somebody called Lord Wolney. Yeah, boo, boo, yes, who actually suggested that peaceful protesters should be treated the same as violent criminals, and this is where we've ended up. So I'm going to come tomorrow morning. I really hope that this appeal works. I've never heard of an appeal happening like this, but really, I think the depth of emotion about it is going to be very, very clear, and let's hope they all walk free tomorrow. Thank you for listening.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
In
Okay, good.
London, outside the Royal Courts of Justice.
Where is Tim? Where shall I stand? I've made some Scold's bridles.
Yes, yesterday.
They are based on designs
she was
used
doing
in the
something back
Middle
with
Ages,
the
right up to
others.
the
I've come ahead.
19th century.
She's on her way
actually.
here though.
They used to use them
Yeah,
on women to
yesterday you could
silence
have a
them.
permanent
So
job
women who
parked in
spoke
front of the
out,
stage
women
because there always
who
seemed to be something
talked
going
too
on.
much,
So I might go
were
there until the
considered
line comes.
gossips and would often be locked in these things. So they
Okay.
have a mouth
Yeah.
plate, and they'd have something. The old ones had like a thing which went on your tongue, and it would press your tongue down. They'd sometimes heat them up as well to burn the tongue as well.
It's an
So
appeal
women
for
were
16
scarred
peaceful
from it.
protesters who
But
have been
the ones that
imprisoned.
I've made just go into your mouth, and they're representations, like a physical art representation of what's currently happening in too many areas, really, people being silenced, but it seemed very appropriate for this action because of people being silenced. I'll put on one. People not being allowed to speak the truth.
But I'll do a small one anyway. Fahana Yamin was the architect of the Paris Climate Agreement. She also was the coordinator of Exar's political strategy group. Give it up for Fahana, please.
Thank you so much for being here. I am so thrilled that so many people have turned up on this very sad day, which should not really be happening at all. I want to just use the next few minutes, and I won't keep you long because I know many of you are getting cold and the court needs to happen very shortly, but I really want to pay tribute to the individuals whose cases are being heard today in the appeal. 16 very ordinary people who have sacrificed their liberty, sacrificed their own lives for climate truth. People who have gone and done actions that have really caught the imagination, yes, have caused disruption, but that disruption is so needed. So first and foremost, to my former XR colleagues and friends, we are really with you, out here with you. Wherever we are in the movement right now, we are with you. And also extreme solidarity and love to all of the people also who have supported actions highlighting the link between climate crony capitalism, racism and imperialism by taking action against the war in Gaza, against the genocide in Gaza, against the continued complicity of the UK government in this genocide by continually exporting military equipment in contravention of our own human rights obligations. It is a very sad day when we have a former Director of Prosecution, one of the leading human rights lawyers this country has had, who is now our Prime Minister, absolutely turning his back on the very laws that he used to uphold. It is absolutely sad, and we will fight this. I will fight this. I think everyone who is here is committed, and please understand that even the decisions that are being made today, the announcement of the green lighting of the Heathrow decisions, we will fight these in the courts, we will fight these in the streets, we will fight these in our communities, we will fight these everywhere, and these will not prevail. I promise you they will not prevail, because they are not the kind of growth we want, they are not the decisions we want, they are not in line with our climate commitments, our biodiversity commitments, or all our human rights commitments. And I think, again, all of you are here and need to understand. I guess the one point that I can say as someone who's been negotiating legal commitments since 1991, I was there at COP1. There's a fantastic play called The Kyoto, which is on this for the next few months. Please go and see it, and you will understand that actually the commitment by the whole world to create a kinder, greener, more just world is very strong and is overwhelming. The arc of the universe is bending towards justice, and it is because of actions like this, it is because of movements like this, it is because of all of those people standing up in solidarity with the vulnerable countries and communities of the world. I know many of you are skeptical about climate negotiations in the UN, that you're wondering why we're now at COP30. But I want to tell you that back in 1991, in the 90s, we were facing a 6-degree world. We were facing a 6-degree world, and we're not facing that. We are not anywhere near the Paris limits of 1.5, and it took the small island states and climate scientists 10 years to get 1.5 on, as it were, the international statute books and into the consciousness and into the realm of national policy making. But we're not looking at 6 degrees, we're looking at much, much less, and that is a credit to all of those. So whatever your cynicism, skepticism, your tactical views of the climate negotiations, please understand they're the only fora for the vulnerable countries of the world to have a say, and those countries are turning up despite those meetings being hijacked, captured, corrupted by fossil fuel interests, just like our own legal system here and our own government is now heavily lobbied and corrupted, I would say, by fossil fuel interests, and we must stand up against that. This appeal and the way in which these punitive sentences, which is what they are, these are punitive sentences that are unfair, completely disproportionate and politically motivated. This should not be happening, and I hope that we will carry on resisting, fighting, uniting our movements, and hopefully we will have a successful outcome tomorrow, and if not, we will be here until we do get to 1.5, reduce that, and we stand in solidarity and build that kinder, human rights respecting world that I know is possible and is mandatory to all civilized and human rights respecting countries around the world. So I hope that you will stay strong on that, and look forward to working with many of you on that. Thank you.
Please, I'll sing a line and then please repeat it. So it goes. I'll do it quite low because that's me. Another world is possible. Another world is possible. Hold to that vision. Hold to that vision. Protest, create community. Protest, create community. Assemblies that all may be heard. Assemblies that all may be heard. And know in your heart. And know. And then it goes round again. That another world is possible. Okay. Is possible. Hold to that vision. Hold to that vision. Protest, create community. Protest, create community. Assemblies that all may and know in your heart, and now sing with me, in your heart, that another world is possible. Hold to that vision. Protest, create community. Assemblies.
I'm more used to playing on picket lines than I am on climate protests, but the thinking is the same. It's about expressing solidarity with those involved in the struggle, and so in my experience the best way of expressing solidarity not only among ourselves but among those people who are passing by wondering what the heck we are doing here is by singing together. And as you can just see there, it's quite easy to adapt the lyrics of a union song to make it a climate change song. So I'm going to sing This is a song that we sing a lot on picket lines, and we'll sing the same chorus because it's about solidarity forever. But if we just tweak the last line of the chorus to say instead the union makes us strong, to say our comrades will be free, and we sing that together. I'm going to have to sing the same old union verses because I haven't had time to make up any new ones, but hey, it's the sentiment. So let's try singing the chorus together. It goes like this. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for our comrades shall be free. That's the idea. You see, you kind of had it there. I could almost hear you over this guitar. They need to hear you inside here. They need to hear you walking up and down Fleet Street. They need to hear you down Aldwych. Just quiet again. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For our comrades shall be free. Where the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there shall be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. For what force on earth is weaker than the single strength of one? But the comrades shall be free. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Our comrades shall be free. In our hands we have a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. For what force on earth and defeat when we told, then our comrades shall be free. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. And our comrades shall be free. They have stolen untold billions that they never worked to earn, but without our might and muscle, not a single wheel will turn. We can be their holy power. I love a good sing-along. There's another way. I love a good sing-along. There's another way you can join in if you know the chorus. Tune up a little bit here. The weather might be, oh come on, here we go. At least it's not raining, eh? That's the good thing. It's going to be really sunny tomorrow, I hear. Be nice for you. Goodbye. Nice. You say everything must be replaced. You say everything is near. But I remember the face of everyone who sent me here. Come on, I see my light come shining. Here we go. I see my light come shining. From the west down to the east. From the west down to the east. Steady day now. Steady day now. Any day now. Any day now. I shall be released.
Thank you for making a appearance.
Yeah. Excellent.
I think that does encourage me. Because I live on.
I'm more used to playing on picket lines than I am on climate protests, but the thinking is the same. It's about expressing solidarity with those involved in the struggle. And so, in my experience, the best way of expressing solidarity not only among ourselves but among those people who are passing by wondering what the heck we are doing here. It's by singing together. And as you can just see there, it's quite easy to adapt the lyrics of a union song to make it a climate change song. So I'm going to sing, this is a song that we sing a lot on picket lines, and we'll sing the same chorus because it's about solidarity forever. But if we just tweak the last line of the chorus to say instead the union makes us strong, to say our comrades will be free. And we sing that together. I'm going to have to sing the same old union verses because I haven't had time to make up any new ones, but hey, it's the sentiment. So let's try singing the chorus together. It goes like this. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for our comrades shall be free. That's the idea. You see, you kind of had it there. I could almost hear you over this guitar. They need to hear you inside here. They need to hear you walking up and down Fleet Street. They need to hear you down Aldwych. Just quiet again. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Solidarity forever.
Richard, what were you involved with?
I was only one of the group of people at the university about these things. We weren't doing much. We were just aware that this is going on.
Yeah.
And not many people were. We've heard of Rachel Clark, Rachel Silent Spring. She wrote Silent Spring in 1983. Anyway, a long time ago, there was a successful great book about the environmental danger.
Yeah.
Ken Limerick first came along in 1972. Everything which we need to know, we knew in 1973.
Yes. Yeah. There's a thing, isn't there, called Exxon New?
Yes, well, there's...
Yeah, so basically Exxon had some of the best client science. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. Hello everyone, we are outside the Royal Courts of Justice for the second day of the Defend Our Juries and for the 16 peaceful protesters who are appealing against their long prison sentences. We were here yesterday, we had Billy Bragg, we had someone I haven't heard of before, I can't remember her name, she was a key part of XR, but she also explained how she was involved in negotiating the Paris 2015 climate agreement. Everyone likes to moan about weather with 3 degrees Celsius warming, which is a terrible disaster. She said if it hadn't been for her work with the Paris 2015 agreement, we would be heading for 6 degrees Celsius. So there's a really interesting talk yesterday. There's a whole programme of speakers. Also, there's going to be some, and there's expected to be 1,000 people have registered an interest to say they'd like to come along, or they are coming along. And there's going to be, I think XR might be getting back to our old XR roots, although this is not an XR protest, there's lots of XR people here, there's some XR flags there I can see. There's a few police officers around, they're just sort of standing around. We had an update yesterday at the end of the first day of the appeal, and it seems that for the first day, the prisoners who are appealing for shorter sentences, they get to have their say, and then today is going to be the day of where the prosecution says why they shouldn't have their prison sentences reduced. And yesterday, the sorts of things their lawyers were arguing for included things such as the actions they did were not really violent. The judge who sentenced the people, for example, throwing soup over a Vincent van Gogh painting, even though it was completely protected by glass, the judge decided that was a violent act. Well, an important part of non-violent direct action is that you can only do violence against people, and that violence could be even things like being unkind to them, saying unkind things to them, even though physical violence, anything that causes someone stress or worry would sort of be a violent thing. But when it comes to drawing old doors and paintings, XR and other non-violent direct action groups would not consider XR would not consider, or non-violent direct action protests would not consider damage to physical property as violence. So that's one of the cases, that's one of the aspects they were arguing for. Also, when some of the truth tellers were, when some of the protesters were imprisoned, the judge said, because you went, for example, you went ahead and carefully assessed the painting before you pursued so that means you count as an organiser. Well, I don't think anyone would think carefully going along to plan your route out to make sure the painting is protected by glass. I don't think anyone would consider that person